Hey, you. Let's have a talk about broken promises. Maybe you are one to not break them to people, but how many have you broke to God? The Father, maybe you can't remember. I know I can. So how about that time you got pulled over and, oh man, you started to tell God all the things you'd if he would just let you go? Or about the time you got locked up? And how about when the bills were overloading you? I mean, hey, we could go on and on, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not picking on. You're just showing you something now. Just imagine a friend said, hey, I'll do something if you can help me out, and you really depended on them. And it didn't pan out. You ended up being let down. What would you think about that friend? Would you trust them again? Would you believe their word next time? What if the only reason they called you was because they needed something? Would you feel like you are being used? Would you just not answer the calls anymore? Well, lucky for us, God, the Father, still answers the call, knowing how we are, knowing that we will not keep our word. That's sad, isn't it? I mean, we only call him when we need something. Have you ever thought what the Holy Spirit feels when we can't keep our promises to God, the Father? Proverbs 11:3. Honesty guides good people. Dishonesty destroys treacherous people. You know, God keeps his word. Titus 1:2. And as his children, we are to be like him. Ephesians 5:1. God is dependable, so his people should be dependable. Christians should be known as people of honesty. Proverbs 12:22. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in those who tell the truth. Keeping our word should be a priority. Our reputation should be more important to us than our feelings, our finances, or our comfort. We should be like those mentioned in Psalm 15:4, who keep their promises even when it hurts. People should be able to depend on us. Will we do what we said we would do, even if it cost us? Or will we only do what benefits us? It is really a question of whether we will be selfish or whether we will walk in love. You see, a number of New Testament passages warn against offending or sinning against the Holy Spirit. The most dire sounding are those that warn against committing blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. Mark 3. The Tentamary English Version, because it avoids stained glass words, does not use the word blasphemy, but still ends up with strong words. I promise you that any of the sinful things you say or do can be forgiven, no matter how terrible those things are. 29. But if you speak against the Holy Spirit, you can never be forgiven. That sin will be held against you forever. But there is also another important reason to keep our word, so our faith will work as it should. For assuredly, I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that those things he says will be done, he will have whatever he says. Jesus taught that for faith to work effectively, we must believe those things we say. You see, every time you pray with the Holy Spirit. If you don't keep your word, it will affect your faith. If you want to walk in faith and thus enjoy all the blessings God has provided for you, then you must believe what you say. Lying won't work. Yet as humans, we all may sometimes find ourselves in situations beyond our control, where it is impossible to keep a promise we have made. In such cases, we should apologize and go forward in life, asking God to help us do better next time. say this. With God's help, I determined to tell the truth and keep my word. Let's define who the Holy Spirit is. He is the third person of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He is co-equal with the Father and the Son. That's why we baptize in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. He was present at and had part in creation. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Job 26:13. By His Spirit He have garnished the heavens. He was active both in the old. Maybe you are having some hard times because you owe God the Father some old promises to sum up. The unpardonable sin is simply the sin of failing to come to God for forgiveness. It will not be forgiven because it was not requested. It is possible for us to grieve, resist, and even quench the Spirit. But God, through the Spirit, is seeking every possible way to nudge us into His kingdom.